Welcome, everybody, to Get the Word Out. We are live, and I'm so excited to have my guest, Chad Snow. He is running something fantastic here in Southern Indiana with Do Something. He's doing classes called Conversations That Matter, and he's helping teach all of us how do we talk about politics to our friends, to our neighbors, without erupting in some type of emotional fight. Anger. How do we do it? We're always taught, don't talk about politics. Oh, you guys, it's 2025. We need to talk about politics, but we need to talk about politics locally in a non-divisive manner to get engagement, to get community building. So we're going to dig deep in why we need this and how do we do it. And if you're in Southern Indiana, you can join us. You can join Do Something Southern Indiana, and you can come to these classes, but we're also going to give you tips now. Chad, thank you so much for being on today. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for the opportunity. This is a great opportunity for us.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. Can you tell me a little bit about why you are wearing a Do Something shirt, why you are running these classes? What made you want to get involved in this? Why is this so important? And then we will dive into what you're doing.
Sure. A friend of mine invited me to attend one of Do Something Southern Indiana's public meetings in August of this year.
Oh,
I
wow.
showed up and participated. I was especially impressed with the nonpartisan nature of the group and the fact that it was very grassroots, locally focused. There was a lot of energy in the room around protecting immigrant rights. And I raised my hand and I said, are there any other areas that we're focusing on? And I expressed an interest in civic engagement and doing some work in that area. And soon after that, they invited me to participate in one of their steering committee meetings, and they roped me in and I roped them in. And so it's kind of been a hopefully mutually beneficial arrangement since then.
That's so amazing. I mean, you just got in. August was not that long ago, and
it's kind of been it's been a bit of a whirlwind experience for me.
Yeah. So that kind of shows you the importance of what we're doing in these small, community building groups that we're having meetings in person. And it's like, oh, you're concerned about that. Do you want to lead a group on that and go with it? And then, yeah, so that's really awesome. So thanks for doing this. Okay, why were you concerned about civic engagement? Why is that a need that we have?
Well, it's something that I've just as an individual person been concerned about for a long time. But frankly, with the Trump administration's push, particularly in his second administration, it feels to me like things are more divisive than ever. And I'm concerned that we've really lost two things. We've lost the ability to talk with one another and listen to one another. And I think we've lost a focus on what it really means to find shared values as Americans. And we spend too much time, and maybe for a variety of reasons, in our own individual camps, listening to people that think and sound like us.
And yeah, that is such a huge problem. We get in our own little political bubbles and we think something, and then it's mirrored back in other people's posts and comments. So then we think everybody thinks that way, and we're missing what our neighbors think. So, and then we start getting super divisive because we're always blaming the other side. And that's really not the issue. We need to fix things instead of just blaming. But it's hard when the national rhetoric is so divisive. You know, the Republicans think the Democrats are monsters. The Democrats think the Republicans are monsters. And they both think things that are not true about the other side. So
yeah, and I've noticed that level of divisiveness seems to be highest at the federal level, maybe less so at the state level, and even less so at the local level. And I wish I understood why that is. I wonder if the national media may play a role in that. But for whatever reason, I'm feeling exhausted with the idea that I have to be angry at somebody.
Yeah.
someone that disagrees with me.
I have a show with my Republican friend Christopher Machen. He's Tim Peck's nephew, and he's a Republican, and we're really good friends. And we do a mental fitness show where we ask each other what the other side sees, because I see Democrat news and he sees Republican news, and it helps me to understand the version of the news that he's seen is completely different than the version that I'm seeing. And we're both supposed to be angry at the other one. And once we kind of acknowledge it and we realize, well, I don't feel that way that they're telling me, and you don't feel the way that the Republican side's telling you, but they're trying to get us to be angry at each other, it really helps us to break it down. And then, like, I always feel better at the end of the show because I'm thinking the other side thinks these terrible things and most of them don't, and it's so hard to prove it to people.
Yeah, I see a lot on social media to that point. I see a lot of people say in their posts, the left says this or the right believes this, and I think we do ourselves a disservice when we label and make those sorts of generalizations, because I think there's a variety of opinions and nuance on both sides, across all sides, to any issue. And yeah.
And like, I'm not scared to post political things on social media because I've ran for a couple political offices and I've been doing it for a while. But a lot of my friends they're very scared because of the nastiness online. And I always like to point out that's not real life. The mean thing that a neighbor might post on my Facebook is not how they speak to me when I see them on the street. And we need to really remember that because it scares us. And that's one of the reasons we need your classes on how to talk to people, because we think they're going to yell at us. And we always have to remember online comments are not real life. Also, there's all these new reports. Have you seen this, Chad? There's all these new reports that are saying bots from other countries are pumping out the divisive comments, fueling our disagreements, including like X, formerly Twitter, accounts that have like hundreds of thousands of followers, sometimes millions of followers, are actually bots from other countries set to spark division. And so we all need to take a step back and realize we are being manipulated by the online divisive stuff.
Yeah. I've been aware of these troll farms since the 2016 election. I know that's been a big issue. And what's striking about that is that these people who are pumping out this sort of divisive material, it's not all left-leaning or right-leaning. The same organizations are pumping out chaos-driving content that caters to both sides. Right? Yeah. That triggers both sides.
Yeah, and both sides think it's only the other side. I've started to call my side, I'm a Democrat, to the extreme side is the left MAGA people that I'm like, because they're so divisive and they're so get down your throat the second you don't agree with every single thing they're saying. And it's like, that's how we lose people. We're never going to be good enough for you. This perfection thing we're working on. No. We need to cast bigger nets, have bigger conversations with a large group of community members. And our main goal is helping our community to be better, to fix the problems. And it's been quite a journey for Project Next. We started a year ago, and that's our mission, to stop the fear, hate, and division destroying the country, and to unite communities, when a lot of people are saying, well, that's not right because those other people are such monsters. And it's like,
Yeah, you sort of touched on a concern of mine too a minute ago, and again just now, that we, as we're trying to have some of these civic dialogue conversations, we're often missing a shared base of information, a shared base of facts. To the point you made earlier about how your friend is literally seeing different stories on the news than you are. I experienced that. I experienced that with members of my family as well.
Yeah. And I came about this organically by meeting people. I ran for county council in 22 and state house in 24, and I'm going to run for state house again. And we have it's all Republican in Harrison County, 100% Republican. And my side was telling me all those Republicans were monsters. And I was like, are they though? And I met like one of the Republicans in power was my neighbor 2 blocks away from me. I started meeting them and found out the things that my side was telling me about them were not true. And then they led me to other Republicans that are helping the community. So I actually started meeting county council members, now a commissioner that I'm friends with, and a bunch of people that are actively engaged in the Republican Party in Harrison County. Found out they're not monsters. I went back to my party and told them. They didn't believe me at first. They do now. I actually had to get them together, get them talking. It was harder than I thought it was going to be, but boy, did it help my mental health to realize not everybody on the other side is this monster that our national news and social media are painting it to be. And we actually have to, shocker, have conversations with them to figure it out. So
yes, conversations that matter.
Conversations that matter. So you've already had one set of this class. Is that correct? You already did
That's right.
Conversations
Yes.
That Matter. How did that go? And can you kind of tell us some of your talking points? So this is to help community members learn what to say so that they don't need to be scared to start a conversation that involves politics and that you're not going to have anger. So how did that class go? And give us some tips.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack there. I think I'll start by just describing some of my anxieties around how that workshop was going to go before we actually walked in the door. I did some research into a process called deliberative dialogue, which is focused on trying to find ways to help people have productive dialogue in the face of disagreement. And I decided that the approach we were going to take was going to be very experiential. We were not just come into a classroom and listen to a lecture, but we were going to have a little snippet, a brief principle that we were going to share, and then we were going to have a conversation and apply that principle and see how it worked, and then discuss it, and then move on to another small bite-sized principle and have another conversation where we apply that. And I'll just tell you that the basic outline of the workshop was the 3 conversations. Our first conversation was meant to be very low key and a way to help participants really connect and identify with one another, and to illustrate.
So you start off easy. Start out with
yes,
easy conversation.
And to illustrate the principle that we all come to our current beliefs and current preferences based on our past lived experiences or observed experiences, right? And so we started out talking about what's your favorite comfort food, and how did that, and what experiences from your childhood or from your past do you associate with that? And that really helped to drive home the idea that you may like apple pie and I may like pumpkin pie, but we both have different and legitimate reasons for arriving at that conclusion, right?
But I'm not going to stop speaking to you because we don't have the same pie preference.
Right, and people in the group made that comment exactly, and so I have this idea and belief that if we're going to really break the divisiveness, one of the first steps is to understand that everyone's world and everyone's perceptions and beliefs make sense in their own mind, and we have to sort of accept and acknowledge that, and be willing to listen to one another, explain how they arrived at that conclusion, because I think that can help to create. It does 2 things. It creates empathy for one another, and it provides a framework for us to have a conversation about, that's interesting. The fact that you had this adverse experience as a child, I can definitely see how that would cause you to feel this differently about this issue than I do.
Right. So listening is a great one. Yeah. So that would definitely be a good step. Listen. I get a lot. Have you seen these posts where they'll put up a graphic that says, if you don't believe in my basic fundamental rights of we can't be friends? And I want to counteract with, I hear what you're saying, but a lot of the people that are voting differently than you don't realize they're doing that.
Don't realize
They
what?
don't want to take away your rights. They're listening to other news. They're thinking the people they're voting for are not taking away people's rights for the most part. We've got extreme people on both sides. Yes, they're wanting to hurt other people, and we shouldn't make them leaders. We should make the unity people that care about everybody leaders, but just acknowledge, just because your aunt voted differently than you doesn't mean she wants all these basic fundamental rights taken from you. She doesn't see it. She doesn't know. And so if you get your feelings hurt and you block them and you never speak to them again, how are you going to have a conversation with her to get her to see that we all should be voting better? And so, like, I just want people to realize that it's a place of fear and of hurt where we're stopping the dialogue. And it doesn't mean your feelings aren't valid. I'm scared and my feelings also get hurt, but it's going past that and being like, I have to be curious. Why are they voting this way? Let me listen and talk to them.
Yeah, I love that concept of curiosity. It really does flip the script. So often when we come into a conversation about religion or politics or some of these difficult topics, our frame of reference is that my goal or my job is to do a really good job of explaining to you why I feel the way I do. And one of the things, the first principles we talk about in these conversations that matter workshops is, let's try to switch that script. Let's try to make it my task. My task is to understand your viewpoint, and likewise your task is to understand mine. And if we can change the dynamic, it creates a totally different framework on which to look for ways to move forward.
Right.
Together, right.
Another instance I would recommend when you're having a conversation is to find common ground. When I'm talking to someone that is maybe a huge Trumper, a MAGA person, and I am trying to seek out that we have more in common than we're different, and they're terrified of me because I've got the D by my name, I like to say, it's not really right versus left. There's a lot of, it's top versus down, top versus bottom, and talk about the money, because we're having a massive problem in our country. We have been for a while, but it's gotten worse in the last year, of billionaires. Now we have a trillionaire, oligarchs. They really have massive amounts of power over our government. And most people on both sides see that and don't like it. So I recommend, if you're meeting with somebody that voted differently and you're like, where do we have common ground? Try that, because usually most people don't like it that billionaires are controlling us.
Yeah, and maybe to expand on that a little bit, I think I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
You're fine.
We can think about whether we're a disagreement in terms of either a disagreement about values or a disagreement about positions.
Uh-huh.
And I think that when we discover that we disagree with someone about a position that we want to take on a particular issue, it might create space for that common ground to think about values. Well, what is it that you value that in this? What value do you out?
That's really important. Yeah, common ground. What do we have in common? Most of us want to protect our families. We want to have health care. We want to have good education, maybe childcare. Like, there are our energy bills. That's a big thing in Indiana. Our energy bills keep rising. We've lost a lot of power and control from our energy companies due to our state house and making bad laws. And so, yeah, what are their values? I bet they're much more similar to yours than you realize. So that is a really good point.
On that point, I have a personal experience with that. I grew up during the Cold War, and I remember having drills where I would crawl under. We would crawl under our desks, in the event of a nuclear attack from Russia or the Soviet Union, and so I grew up sort of internalizing that pervasive fear that might happen. And I remember hearing a song, I think it was by Sting, where the refrain was, "I hope the Russian mothers love their children too." And that just sort of unlocked for me this realization that, yeah, that for as much as we may feel like we're enemies, there is always a place where we can.
It's just a few people. It's just a few people running the government on both sides. It's not actual human beings. Like when you study Germans, most Germans didn't want World War II. They didn't want to harm anybody else. I mean, you come down to a human level. It's these people at the top running the show wanting more power and control. And that's a good place to find common ground. We're stuck with who we elected to represent us. So we need to get more involved. So we make sure we elect people that have our best interests at heart. And it's a big problem in America because of dark money, because of the way our politics have been ran. It's really hard for our elected officials to listen to us. So we have to get more engaged. We have to be civically, aware of everything.
I hope you forgive me for turning the script and asking you a question, but have you
Sure.
noticed in your work that political campaigns tend to favor those with more extreme views?
Yes, definitely. Because of the way the primaries are set up. So we're going to have a primary in Indiana on May 5th, 2026, just in a few months away. And when you go to that, usually people that are very into politics vote in the primary. And you go and they say, which party are you? And you take either a Republican ballot or a Democrat ballot. And usually the people will sometimes pick the more extreme candidate. So because primaries happen in the way they happen, that can sometimes lead to the more extreme candidate. Also, whoever runs your political party, whoever the chair is of the party, can really have a lot of influence as who is on that ballot. So in Harrison County, it's usually the more extreme person that's going to listen to the Republican Party. So that's why we've kind of lost democracy in our county. They're not listening to us. They're listening to the person that's running the party because they make sure that person wins the primary. It's a whole thing. Yeah. And how do we stop it? Well, we need to get more people engaged and out voting in the primary. And we need to make sure we're all actively trying to choose on both sides the unity building community candidates. So we can fix this. Locally, we can fix this May by picking candidates that want to work with the other side and fix stuff instead of just blaming. But again, we have to get more involved. Hence why I invited you on the show. I'm so glad you're doing these conversations that matter. Don't you think it helps when you're doing when you're talking to people to talk about local issues instead of the national culture war, stupid division stuff?
Well, absolutely. I mentioned that in our conversations that matter workshops, we start with something low key, an icebreaker to build connection. But then the very next conversation we have, the one we had at this inaugural session was a discussion around a local city noise ordinance, and we asked participants, find out from your partner what it is that they agree with and disagree with in this noise ordinance, and why. What experiences led them to feel that way, and we found that talking about a noise ordinance or a local issue did take a lot of the partisanship out of it and created a sense of where we could just talk to each other as people without an R or a D beside our name or a blue or red shirt.
Right. That's so important. Going into conversations without looking at them like they have a political label associated to them, looking at them as people that want the best for the community, even if they might think things differently than you or vote differently. That's so important. So I do a lot of door knocking, talking to strangers at Harvest Homecoming or at community events across the few counties around here. And I don't know how a person votes or if they vote when I go up and talk to them. And so I usually just kind of find out what they care about. I ask them some questions. And then when I find out they care about public schools, I let them know what's happening at the State House with education and how our public schools are being defunded in Indiana. And a lot of times they don't know. Or, Are they worried about their bills or their health care, whatever? So if we just go into the conversation, the difficult conversation, not assuming they're different from us, that really helps.
Yeah, I think that speaks to this idea of shared values, whereas two people might have face the same difficulty putting food on the table, but have very different solutions, proposed solutions for how to fix that issue. But yeah.
Yeah. So are you planning on having more Conversations That Matter workshops with
I'm glad you asked. Yes, we have one scheduled for Wednesday, December 10th at the Clarksville Library, and we're inviting people to register for those for that workshop. And if you'll go to our website, DoSomethingSoin.com, and click on Civic Engagement, you'll find links there to our Conversations That Matter page where you can register for that event.
Do something SOIN, Southern Indiana, SOIN.com, and click. What was the link to click?
Click on
Civic
Engagement and then Conversations.
Okay, and you can register for the event. What time is the event?
It is.
It's okay. You can
from 6 to 7:30 p.m. on.
Okay, that's fantastic. So if you're around here in Southern Indiana, you can come to this next class, and then you can ask your specific questions. It's so funny. Every time I do like a parade or something, and I go out and I talk to all these strangers, it's sort of mentally exhausting. Like I'll need a few hours to recover and to process because I had so many conversations. But I always come out of it feeling better about humanity. I always come out of it realizing, oh, the online division's not real. It's fake. They're pumping it out. It's not real. Most people are wonderful. And so, but it's so hard to convince, like when I go to a Democrat event, to convince people to also help me out because there's only one of me. And State House District 70, it's about 67,000 people. There's no way I can talk to 67,000 people. So I've got to get people to also go out there and talk. And it's so hard to convince them because they just know people are going to be divisive and it's going to get scary. And so this really helps bridge that gap. Okay, you're nervous about it. Let's practice. Is there a lot of like, you're doing these workshops, do you have people pair up and practice talking to each other?
Yeah, that's exactly the way we do it. Our first two conversations are designed to be had in pairs, and then in the first conversation we just talk about this principle of the path to action and how did I get from my experiences in the past to why I think and feel the way I do today. Our second conversation is really focused on building listening skills, asking clarifying questions, reframing, confirming, did I understand that correctly? Help me understand how you feel about that, or and then and also agreeing on some sort of a nonverbal cue or some way to signal to the other person if you're beginning to get a little dysregulated or elevated or anxious about the conversation. It's okay to press pause and let's come back and finish this conversation later. And then our third conversation, it's a little longer in length, but we invite participants to try to share their ideas on how to solve a community problem. And the one that we used in this first experience was looking for ways to help 50 homeless people take a shower every other day, right? And so that was kind of the group task. And I have to say, I was really gratified. I literally felt joy in watching the conversation take place. I love that chatter, the chatter that you find in a room where there's a really dynamic conversation going on. Afterwards, as people were leaving, I heard people say, this was such a great way to spend a Saturday morning. I guess ours was held on a Saturday morning. And other people said, someone said, after participating in this, he noted, I spend way too much time talking with just liberal friends. I'm going to start attending some libertarian meetings. And I thought that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. And
you said so many
organic and very real.
Yeah, so it helps our own mental health to get out and to talk to people. That is so important to realize.
Key.
My mental health has greatly improved getting out and realizing these people that I was told were monsters are actually trying to help the community. Also, just you see a problem, it could be a really small one, and you just do something to help that problem. That really helps mental health. So, like, we all have unhoused people in our communities. And especially, we just had the terrifying thing when people weren't getting their SNAP benefits for a few weeks. That was awful. Um, so everybody had to step up and try to provide more food to the communities. And a lot of people did. And it was really a beautiful event, but also very scary. It's just like solving something attainable is a really good thing to help your mental health. But I don't
Yeah,
know. Have you seen the show, The Diplomat, on
I have
Netflix?
not.
It is my favorite show. I'm almost finished with it. It's 3 seasons. It's Carrie Russell. It is amazing. And she's a diplomat for America, and she's the diplomat for England. She lives in England, and she tries to help keep the peace. And she works with all these people behind the scenes in political actions that are going on to keep the peace, to stop wars. And it's so interesting because it's so hard, but so worth it. And the way you keep the peace is you constantly have hard conversations with people that you think are scary or you disagree with, and you find common ground. And that's the piece we've been missing for years in America. That is why we have this division. We're scared to talk to people that disagree with us. And that is it. We have to realize it's not compromising our beliefs to have a conversation with somebody who votes differently. It's the opposite. It's the way we move forward. And it's so frustrating when you're just going to Democrat events and you're just seeing the same type of people in the same type of political bubbles, and nobody is going out and talking to anybody else. It's like, how is that helping?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, another thought I had as I was preparing for this show was that, like sometimes we dream from the left or from the right that it would be great if we could just sort of snap our fingers like Thanos and make the other half of the political spectrum immediately disappear, and wouldn't life be blissful? But I've come to realize or believe that if we could do that, we would live in bliss for about 2 weeks. But by about week 3, we would draw new party lines and new divisions and find new things to disagree about.
You're so
the
right, because our
problem,
side's never far enough to the left, and the right's got to be so farther to the right. So you're so right. We would keep
we,
division going.
yeah,
Right.
and I think there are reasons why we as humans tend to try to find our pack and try to amplify our viewpoints by associating with others who feel the same way as we do. But that story and that like imaginary situation has helped me to understand that here in the United States we're stuck with this population that we have. We can't just snap our fingers and get rid of half of the population. And so we really are kind of, this moment is calling on us to figure out how to do exactly that, how to have a conversation with someone across the aisle. And if you went to the Republican Party's website for the state of Indiana and the Democratic Party's website for the state of Indiana, you would find a platform that lists several positions on various topics. And by their very nature, they're designed to be rather polarizing, right? But I think if we dug in a little bit, I think liberals would find some elements in the Conservative Party platform that we could get on board with, and
Right.
vice versa. Like and those are you started saying, you mentioned something a minute ago about do something small, take the small win. And maybe that's where we could spend some effort, is looking for those low-hanging fruit, or those opportunities to do something.
Our problems seem so massive, we get hopeless really quickly and we don't do anything. We have anxiety or depression, and we have to fight that. The constant bombardment of depressing news that is just shown on us on our phones and TV screens constantly is overwhelming, and human beings are not meant to take in that much information. And so we just get stuck. And my encouragement is to turn it off. I really recommend don't follow divisive news including far to the left, including far to the right, but pick more neutral in the middle things.
Yeah.
And also, if the news is getting to you, don't watch it. Turn it off.
Yeah.
You don't have to know everything that's going on every second, and kind of focus in on your neighborhood. What is going on in your neighborhood? What is going on with your family? Help a small issue. We have to fight hopelessness. That's pretty much the other side that we're trying to prevent. Hopelessness, which leads to inaction. In Indiana, even though we're 40 to 47% Democrat in the state, we don't vote that way because many Democrats feel hopeless and do not even come out to vote. And when they don't come out to the primary, candidates lose money. And when we don't come out to vote in the regular state election, the national what's it called? The regular election, when we don't do that, we look like a completely red state, and we're giving up our chance to have power, to be close, to show, oh no, there are a lot of Democrats here. We're actually a purple state. So hopelessness, that's what I'm fighting every day. I don't know how you feel about that.
Oh, I completely agree. I think we need to do more to spread hope and confidence, and we do see a lot of we see a lot of anecdotal stories of doom and gloom, and we ought to post more positive things.
And why do we see the divisive content? Why did we see the doom and gloom? Because when we're scared, we watch. It's so we need to recognize our news sources, our social media want to frighten us because they want us to watch the scary story. And they want to keep us in panic mode because that keeps us watching. And so once we can kind of step back and analyze, oh, this far to the left headline is meant to make me panic that we have lost our democracy. We have not lost our democracy. We are very lucky to live in America. We still get to vote. There are so many freedoms we have here. And I get really frustrated with the far to the left stories of we've lost our democracy. We're not going to have any more elections. Well, you know what? Trump didn't win the second time. He left. That's going to happen again. I know that it's scary, but we have to look at the evidence of what happened last time. You can try to run as an authoritarian dictator in America, but you don't get everything you want because this isn't an authoritarian government. We have checks and balances. They don't always hold up the way we want, but they are holding up. And this first like 11 months of this administration has been pretty intense. Like you were saying with do something helps with immigration. The things happening with ICE is very terrifying. But we have to stay strong, call it out, do our best, know our rights. Hopefully the courts are going to support us in some of this, and just like have faith in the institution, in the checks and balances. But yeah, the whole news thing, it's just ridiculous. It's scaring us.
You made a good point about you made a point a minute ago about the social media feed and the algorithm that drives the content that we see. And I just had a bit of a realization recently that algorithm is customized to me, and the algorithm may not be so much the problem as I'm the problem. Like it watches what it knows what I watch, and it serves up more of the same. And I realized this recently that I can curate my feed just a little bit by purposely spending time on like pages that I disagree with. Now, I'm not going to go extreme to either side, but within a moderate range, I can steer that algorithm to serve up a more moderate diet.
You should trade devices with your family members and see what your family members' algorithms are, and you can change it. You can make it better. I've been made aware that if you're like a teenage boy, if you're a parent of a teenage boy, you need to get their algorithm and you need to look through it and scroll through it, because it's really easy to go for white supremacy type Christian national stuff. It's like the algorithm just loves to feed it to you because they know you're this young man. And so you kind of need to get on everybody's phone that you care about, everybody's devices, and see, and then you can change it. My favorite algorithm that I have, because I do so much social media, you would not even believe how many accounts I have, Chad. It's
Oh, I would.
ridiculous. I'm about ready to take on more too. Is my favorite algorithm is my Instagram Project Next one. Because since Project Next is all about uniting, stopping the fear, hate,
Yeah.
and division, all the accounts that I follow believe in that same mission too. So I get a lot of like Andy Brashear's comments, the governor of Kentucky, who's very uniting. And then I'll get the Builders Movement, which is this great organization working on uniting. And it's just a bunch of like wise people speaking about how we join together and make our country better. So when I go through the Project Next algorithm, I feel better. If you're going through your social media and feeling worse and feeling terrified and feeling scared, you can just X out of those headlines and you can start following better ones. Again, I recommend Builders Movement. I recommend Project Next. We're pumping out a lot of content showing you how wonderful communities are, especially when they work together and help each other. So you can kind of be proactive in that and help your mental health.
Yeah. Another thing I've started doing, and this may be changing the subject entirely, but I've personally started attending city council meetings. But that was
that's so
never
fantastic.
something that I ever imagined that I would do. And the first time I attended, I felt disoriented, and it was a strange
It takes
environment.
like 3 meetings to figure out what in the world's
But
going on.
I've been 2 or 3 times now and taken the opportunity to talk with some of my elected representatives and build relationships
And what county are you in?
I'm in Clark County in Jeffersonville.
Nice.
And
That's wonderful. Yeah, I used to attend town council meetings here in Palmyra, and it took me a good three times attending the meeting to know what in the world they were talking about, because they talk about stuff from the last meeting and they don't give you like a summary, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you know what we really need? If you're watching this and you're like actively like, oh, do something, I need to get involved and do that. We need you to run for something. Like that's really important. Something small. It doesn't have to be something big. You can run for township trustee in Indiana or township advisory board, or, you know, there are lots of little small things. You can run for the county council meetings that you're talking about, or commissioners or town council. And you can really help your neighbors. Like it's amazing how much local government impacts our lives, and we really don't know much about it. We think national's everything, but it's state and county and town. That's what's impacting our lives.
Yeah, I think it's important to be aware of public issues at all levels, the local, state, and federal, for sure.
Yeah. So I try to help with that as much as I can when I'm one of the leaders in the Harrison County Democrats. And we just had a meeting where we explained all the things people can run for, because this next election, there's going to be like 40 things on the ballot. And it's really hard to get that many people to run. So just realize we need you. If you know, you can't just vote and think that our government's going to do what we need. You got to like really get involved and kind of push. Otherwise it gets away from us and they stop listening to us. Like, you know.
Yeah, I would also just add to that there are a surprisingly large number of civic-minded organizations in our communities that I was just not aware of, that people can join and follow and yeah. So
and you know what we're doing in Indiana is working. This is something that is incredible to me. So even though Indiana is a super majority of Republicans, and a lot of those people don't necessarily listen to us because they don't have reason to, they can just easily keep getting elected. We have been stopping national pressure, because you guys that have been following Trump, the Trump administration wanted Indiana to redraw the congressional lines in Indiana. We have 9 Congress people in our state that go to Washington that vote for us. 7 of them are Republican and 2 are Democrat. They wanted to redraw the lines to make it 9 Republican, which would really take away our voice. It doesn't matter whether you're Republican or Democrat. This is a bad thing for everybody, because they would have no reason to listen to the people that elected them. They would just easily get elected no matter what they were doing. So organizations like Mad Voters, Hoosier Action, Do Something, tons of organizations send out tons of information on how to reach our elected officials at the state level and to say no to this. And our state officials, enough of them listened to stop it. So our governor wants
great
it.
point.
Our governor wants it because Trump is telling him to do this and he's trying. But guess what? We, the people of Indiana, made enough fuss for our elected officials to say no to it. And we are not redistricting. And they tried with all of their might, and they had to get it done before 2026. So
Yeah.
it's like that's local organizations pulling together across the state, working and stopping something bad.
I love that you made that point, because we did actually participate in a call campaign to encourage voters to contact their state senators and express their views on that, and we found that this really was a bipartisan issue. We found many right-leaning voters who recognized that this redistricting push really strikes at the very heart of what it means to have authentic representation in government. It really flips our democracy upside down if we have our president and the House of Representatives applying pressure downward in our state to craft districts that suit some national purpose. That's not at all what our founding fathers envisioned when they write in the Constitution that the House of Representatives shall be chosen by the people.
Not the top telling us what to do.
Yeah, and I was really gratified to see that, number one, that we were able to participate in that, and the number two, that our elected officials got the message. And
it really is an amazing story, because a lot of people across the country just think of Indiana as a deep red state that has been lost and forgotten, and we don't have a chance. And we just proved to the entire country, yes, we do. We do have a chance. All the organizing, all these little groups that pulled together, all the different protests and phone calls and emails, it mattered, and it stopped something. And I think other states can learn from Indiana. I've talked to other states that are organizing. In a lot of other red states, Indiana is actually more organized than some of these other ones. And I think that's important to realize, and to kind of pat ourselves on the back and thank all these organizations that are working. I'm trying to magnify these great organizations with my media company. And, let's do this. Like, I just think it's such a beautiful story, because we stopped something bad. It works. And that's what they don't want us to know. These people at the top want us to feel hopeless, want us to say, oh, I guess we're redistricting Indiana. I guess it's going to be 9 congressional seats now. They want us that way. And it's like, no, when we work together, we stop bad stuff.
Yeah, so, it really looked like that measure was going to succeed, and that we were going to have
I agree. All the top sources, because since my co-founder, Dr. Tim Peck, is running for Congress, he was getting a lot of sources. The Mad Voter people were getting a lot of info. They all said it was a done deal. And they all also said, it doesn't matter, we keep fighting. So if we would have believed what the top people are saying, it's done. Trump wants it, they're going to do it. And it's like, nope, we don't listen to that negative talk. It's done when it's done. You keep trying until it happens. So you can't be deflated. You can't be hopeless. Here in Indiana, we are a national headline. Last week when this story came out, Pod Save America was talking about it. I heard it all over the place. So we're setting an example for how you organize and fight in Indiana, and other states can do this as well. Don't lose hope. And, other states that are completely Democrat have the same problem, because they're supermajority Democrat. The people are not being heard. So it's not like it's just red places. Like, I know Chicago has problems, for example, because it's so overwhelmingly Democrat. Sometimes the not great Democrat people have come into power, and then they don't listen to the people anymore. So it doesn't really matter whether it's blue or red. When it's so blue and so red, that's when they stop listening. So that's why we always have to work together.
We've kind of pivoted to a conversation on gerrymandering, and I think it's a good point, because it is yet another one of the forces that tends to create extremism in our elected bodies, our deliberative bodies. And you make a very good point about politicians feel beholden to whatever entity got them into office. And if they recognize that they got into office by hitting the pavement and knocking doors and being connected with the people, they act that way in government. But if they feel like they got into office because of the way their state party drew the maps, they feel more beholden to the state party than they do to the people. I think, and I believe that's true on either side, whether conservative or liberal,
Yeah.
Democrat.
And we definitely could be doing more to make things more we the people. And that is my hope. My hope is we've got all these organizations joining. We're going to be more civically engaged. Voter turnout is going to be high in this next election next November. I really have high hope that then we can start putting better things in place to make the people have more of a voice and the party less, the money less. It is a hard problem, but I think more of us are aware than ever before. Like when I was in my 20s, I didn't know I needed to be this civically engaged. I had no idea. I completely took our democracy for granted. I feel like we as a country realize, no, we got to be more involved now.
Yeah, at this point, if I could, I'd just like to issue an appeal to people who are feeling energized about wanting to do something about fairness in voting and supporting elections. We do have a Facebook page and a private Facebook group. So if you'll go to our website, dosomethingson.com, you'll find a link there to our Facebook page. If you'll ask to join our group, we will have you fill out some questions that let you tell us what you're interested in and how you're interested in helping, whether it's helping with immigrant rights or protecting public education or some of the civic engagement work that we've been talking about. Tell us that, and we will find ways to put you to work.
And like you're new and you're doing important work for Southern Indiana or for Do Something. So it's important to realize it's not like you're just going to sit back there and just listen. You can get involved and actively start helping really quickly, which I like that about your group. Yeah, you can also just go to Facebook and type in Do Something Southern Indiana for groups. Go to like groups and search. You can do it that way. I think people just recommended I join it, and is how I got into it. And then if you're not in Southern Indiana, look up, I recommend joining Indivisible. Indivisible is a really good nonpartisan group. They've formed thousands and thousands of chapters across the country. If there isn't an Indivisible group in your area, there's information. If you just look up, go to the Indivisible website and look up how to join, how to make your own group. Indivisible and Do Something are similar. And I know you guys work together around here. So yeah, Indivisible is a great group. And there's like in like cities and places, there's multiple Indivisibles, and you can pick which one is doing the cause you feel the most passionately about, and you can go to that one. So there are just, have hope. There are so many groups, nonpartisan groups, pulling together and making our communities better. It's just, you can't snap your fingers and make the change immediate. And our culture is, we're not very patient. And that is really hurting us because we want, bam, results right now. Government is not fast. So
it shouldn't be. Like it should be designed to be slow and deliberative and thoughtful and frankly representative of the broad swath of the center of the political mass. That's where it should be, and that shouldn't change quickly.
Yeah, it's slow for a reason, to protect us, and the national government seems to be moving very quickly, and it is very alarming and terrifying. But we need to zoom in on what is happening locally, and we need to make sure our local officials are not following that national rhetoric and that they're putting the community's needs first. If we don't talk to our elected officials that might be on the other political side of us, they do not hear our side, and they do not know how we feel because we've stopped the conversation. So this is the most important point, I think, in this talk with you, Chad. We have to talk to our local officials and make sure they hear our voice. It doesn't mean we are changing to be like them. That's what my side always says. That people are calling me moderates all the time. It's like, well, I call myself a progressive, I guess, but I will talk to anybody that wants to help our community. And if they're hurting our community, I will talk to them, because chances are they probably don't realize they're hurting the community because they're only hearing their one side. So they don't hear the other.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope people will come. Like we do offer. I love the name of our group. Do something.
I do
Um,
too.
the
I think
way
I
I
titled
understand it
this.
came
I
about,
titled
and
this episode "The Group Do Something is Actually Doing Something."
yeah, a group, a small group of friends were meeting together one night, and I don't know the story, the details about what they were doing, but there was some wine involved. I understand. Somehow that always comes up in the origin story, but somebody said, yeah, we got to do something about this, and then I guess someone had this stroke of inspiration. Yes, we should form an organization and do something, and that
And
I
I
love that.
cannot.
I love that.
I love that too.
That we're action oriented, um, and that we're all about doing something. Like my personal tendency in the past has been to be very perhaps too thoughtful and deliberative and wait too long to do it, like study it all out before I do anything.
Yes.
But we're all about let's do something positive, and then learn as we go, and then do something better.
I'm proud of you. You just got involved and you're leading a wonderful class to help people
Yeah, it's
figure
really
out how to
good.
talk to each other, which
Things
is,
like that.
in my opinion, one of the most important things we can do right now. So I'm proud of you and I'm thankful for you. And I'm telling you, the Indivisible group are good people, you all. If you're nervous about going to a group, I love the Indivisible group. I love the Do Something group. These people are smart, caring, action oriented, actually doing things for our community. And what a beautiful thing. So have hope, everybody. Look in and see if you're in Southern Indiana, join. I think I put it in the comments because Susan, who recommended us do the show together, she said something like we used to have 30 members and now we have 500 in just a few
Yeah, we've been
months.
growing very, very quickly.
Yes, because it's so needed. What you're doing is so needed. And then yeah, we're better together. That's another saying I like to say. We've got to
Yeah.
talk to the other side. We're better together. Let's have conversations. I really want to start engaging more with the Republicans in the community that care and having more conversations with them.
I think that's so important.
Yeah. And
We,
my
we
side
really
doesn't do
can't.
that enough, and I'm just like, I don't go to those Democrat events as much anymore. I go to the Do Something events, the
Yeah.
Indivisible events, because I want to talk to people doing something for the community and not just the divisive, we can't talk to the other side, they're terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In our first Conversations That Matter event, we did lean a little left, and it was still a very enjoyable experience. And we did have some right-leaning folks there too. But my goal is to really create a space where all viewpoints are welcome, and all viewpoints feel motivated and engaged and interested in attending. So
We need more Republicans to come to these events. That's really
yes,
important. We need your side. We need your viewpoint. Your viewpoint is valuable. You have things that are right that we are missing because we're so one-sided on ours. We need to hear your viewpoint. True conservative, there's a lot of good things about a good Republican that cares about the community. They think a lot of things that I agree with. So if you are if you are a Republican listening to this, we need you in these
absolutely.
bipartisan groups. You're so important because, like you're saying, right now they're more, a little bit more heavily towards the liberal
Yeah.
leaning. We need those voices so that we can come together and figure out how to fix these problems.
I love the metaphor of an eagle in flight. If you could imagine, mechanically, it just absolutely would not work if that eagle were missing the left wing or missing the right wing. It just is impossible to fly straight at all. Or if you're piloting a small plane and you only had a right rudder or only a left rudder, we really do need both perspectives to chart a straight course through the really challenging times that we're living in.
In this last month, I've seen a lot more bipartisan efforts, even at the national level. Like I've seen AOC go out and work with Republicans to stop like insider trading. I've
No,
seen some Republican-led bipartisan bills being formed to help the environment. There are a lot of bipartisan stuff happening. We need to amplify that and praise it
totally.
and encourage it. I think we did a pretty good job of in Indiana being thankful for the Republican state senators that said no to redistricting, even though they were getting a lot of pressure from the Republican side to support it. The people that voted, that elected them, did not. And they said that. All of them came out and said that was the reason why they weren't doing it, is because the people that elected them were saying they didn't want it. So have faith. Things are turning. Turn off the divisive news. Turn it off. Fix your algorithm. Come to these meetings. If you don't live here, find an Indivisible chapter near you, or see if there's another local group. Follow Mad Voters to find out what's going on in Indiana.
Another great
Follow
group,
the other type of groups in other states. But realize this is working. We did something in Indiana we didn't think was going to happen. We stopped the redistricting, and now we're working to have these conversations. Yeah, I just want everybody to leave this feeling better this Thanksgiving week.
Can I just make another point? I know we're wrapping up here, but
no, you're fine.
I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we're partnering with the Clark County NAACP to sponsor one of these Conversations That Matter events in January.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm anxious to find other community groups to partner with to sponsor these. So if you're a member of an organization and have some influence with the leadership or the direction that your organization is taking, please go to our website, send us an email to my attention, Chad Snow, Civic Engagement, or Conversations That Matter. And we'd love to take this show on the road and do one of these shows at your organization. And while you're there,
wonderful.
Check out our work in immigrant rights and protecting public education. Those are also two areas that are really important to us as an organization.
Yeah, thank you for what you're doing. Thank you to everybody that's stepping up and getting more civically engaged. And if you're new to the party, you are welcome. We want to hear your voice. We want to know what you want to help with and give you something. You can message me too if you want any of these resources. Just message on Project Next and I will do my best to send you these resources. This has been fantastic. I do want to say we have a store. Hey Elmer / Project Next. You can go there and get all kinds of merch about Project Next to help us grow. The bigger our viewership, the stronger our voice, the more chance that we can make a difference when we shine a light on issues we want to fix. So please go. There's tons of colors. You can get kids shirts, adults, hoodies, hats, magnets, stickers. And I just want to shout out thank you to Elmer Ramos. That's a local store in Cordon, Indiana. So it's Hey Elmer / Project Next. And it's like shirts are like $25, and then some of the money goes to help keep Project Next running. This like live streaming thing is not cheap, and so we're coming up on, we've had our year anniversary, so we're about ready to pay for that again. So that helps support Project Next, helps support what we're doing. Please share this episode with a friend. It's also a podcast. It's on Spotify and Apple. And then you can go to our website, Project Next Indiana, and you can put your email in. If you'd like these shows sent to you as emails with a brief description, then you can watch whichever ones you want. We appreciate you. We're on YouTube. We really need you to subscribe to YouTube. That helps us a lot. And we just really appreciate the support. And the biggest thing you can do is invite your friends on Facebook. If you go to Project Next, click the 3 dots next to message and follow, and click invite friends, invite all, and invite them all. Click, just like keep clicking. And then that helps us so much. We continuously are growing, but again, the growth helps us to shine a light on groups like yourself on Do Something Southern Indiana. Chad, I hope to have you on again.
I love it.
Your next thing is December 10th, and you can sign up by going to Do Something SOIN.com, and then hit Civic Engagement Conversations That Matter and sign up. You can also follow them on Facebook. Go to the group, search for groups, Do Something Southern Indiana, and you can answer a few questions and join. And then also go to Indivisible if you are in other places. Thank you so much, Chad.
Thank you. This was a really important conversation. And
it was really wonderful to have you on. It makes me feel better knowing that you and your group are just doing all you can around here to make things better. Yeah.
Likewise.
Bye, everybody. Have a great day. Oh, and we're going to do a Thanksgiving special tomorrow with me and Tim and Christopher, and they're going to be together. It's really cute because they're having Thanksgiving together. So it's going to be a Thanksgiving themed Project Next show. I'm really looking forward to that. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.